Hey everyone, this is Snark with Snark's Domain. We're going to do some fun stuff tonight I should say. And this might be a longer stream, or I don't know, maybe it won't take too long. I've already got the video card apart, so that part should be fast. And oh yeah, looks like we got the Discord chat working okay. FDSSFSD. Welcome to the stream. What a coincidence. Is this your first time on the channel? Surprisingly, most of my content is live streams, but not many people watch them, which is totally fine. But I do it for posterity so that folks can look back at each application and see what I did, see me handling the product, and I usually talk about it while I'm handling, so there's some value to it, hopefully. All right, so we're gonna put these screws, let's see, somewhere where they're not going to get knocked over. Yeah, I think I found a good spot. Yeah, this is my first time using, or maybe second time using the Discord chat. Let me know if it's in a good spot or if I need to move it around. I'm eventually going to try and get dual streaming working, but on Discord I just didn't get that sorted out today. I've got to figure out how to make the audio play there as well. So yeah, anyways, let's take apart excuse me, let's take apart this heatsink. We're going to take a look at it, see how the UTP-8 compressed, and see if we have good core contact or not. You know what? I'm gonna maximize this on the screen, and we'll close Discord momentarily. Let's see here. Okay, I'm gonna try and make that big here. That should be second screen. Hopefully this works. Oh, okay. I'm gonna just get rid of the chat bubble for a split second, just so you guys can look at the excuse me, the results. Okay, I need to take another recoil off. There we go. I was getting over a pretty bad cold for the last little while I was, well, out working and stuff. I basically got it back when I was traveling back from Saudi Arabia. Even my last stream, I was like starting to get an itchy throat, and then it got really bad. But now it's mostly good, just having a useless dry cough, which is kind of annoying. But, so the results, I don't know if there's a bit of an echo there. You guys can see the CPU temperatures never got as good with the UTP-8 and PTM as they did with the Helmseye 256 and PTM. I even applied more pressure today around the VRMs to see if I could get it to contact a bit better. I logged it. It didn't improve. It was basically right around that 69 still. So even with Cinebench, both of those, the CPU never got as good as it did with as it was with the Helmseye. Now Firmark was interesting. You guys can see the wattage was basically the same, and the GPU temperatures were actually pretty similar. Same with the hotspot, which was kind of surprising. But you'll also notice the memory junction temperature. It didn't get any better than it did with the Hound's Eye. Now, it was still better than the stock stuff, but it was actually, I would call it a bit worse with the UTP-8, and that's because it doesn't compress as well. So I think that was coming into play. The gap would have been larger with the UTP-8 than what the Hound's Eye would have achieved. So I didn't swap it with the putty on the NVMe drive. I'm just going to leave that as is. But anyways, let's get back to, let's see here, Razer Kyo Pro. Yeah. So disconnected the battery, that's really important. And we'll get back to loosening all these screws. I probably don't talk about it much, but when I'm loosening the screws, especially initially, I'm pressing down a little bit and then applying rotation. You'll have a less chance of stripping the screw heads that way. If that wasn't the case, I wouldn't have been able to open and close the test card over 100 times. And those screws are definitely worn, but they're still living, so hopefully that continues to be the case. I've actually got to go to work in like 5 hours. So hopefully this stream doesn't take too long and I can go to sleep for a few hours and then hit the road. I'll catch up on sleep with work though, so it'll be fine. Guess I'll turn that Discord bubble back on. Should go in the corner. Be quite smaller, Twitch streamer style. Yeah, I should make it a bit smaller, hey? It's probably annoyingly covering a bunch of stuff. Can I do that live? We shall see. See if I just shrink it. Oh, with the black background, just like move the video over. I can probably do that next time. I'm still pretty new to using the overlay, so. FDS FSD says, I appreciate the work. Man, I appreciate you. Thanks for your comment. And for checking out my channel. Izan Shafiq, how good are those copper SSD heat sinks? Pretty good. If you saw from those results, which we can just glance back at momentarily here. If you look on the bottom, from not having a heatsink at all to using Hound's Eye HY256, we basically dropped the temperatures significantly. These are delta temperatures over ambient. This was a short test to compare it to the stock of Crystal Dismark, and then I ran a longer one, 64 gigabytes times 9. And yeah, a little bit warmer, but still much better than stock. And it never got the drive 2 temperature up to like, 90 delta. Add 20 to that, it was 112, 22. It was 112 at peak temperature, so add 20 to this, 78 still acceptable. Certainly better than 112. So yeah, it worked out pretty good. Rick, good evening to you. Sorry for the bad English. I was in Saudi Arabia. Please tell me it was good. Yeah, it was good. Yeah. I was there for a month. Working. I didn't do as many videos or streams as I'd hoped to. But work was pretty busy, so that kind of is what happens when I'm working. So when you're prying up a laptop heatsink after using PTM, you got to be delicate with it. Like the putty grips a little bit, but the PTM also grips. So you just want to work around, not try and force it. It'll come. We just got to give it. See, I got it to split there a little bit. Now we're getting some movement. Just like let it happen slowly. You don't need to rush things. That's how you bend a heatsink. Right, we can already tell. We need to move these screws here. Those 4 are there. And put these 4 over here. And then we'll slide this forward a bit so you guys can see a bit better. So I did have quite a bit of putty here. I would definitely call this excess, which kind of happens fairly often for me, if I'm being honest. I do like the putty. I like using probably more than I need to, but I'm confident I pressed enough to get that to squish as best as it could. It was definitely getting pretty thin. I'm going to save that. It's a bit on the dirty side, but can you guys see that pretty good? Should I zoom in a little bit? Let's try. You know, oddly enough, the PTM on both the heatsink, well, let me just get this into focus here. It's pretty thin on the GPU. You can tell there's still a little bit of thickness on the CPU there. Not tons. It doesn't look horrible, but it could have been better. Definitely lots of excess showing on the GPU. And I'll just point out that these corners that look like they don't have excess, that's just on the edge of the CPU as well. So we definitely had enough with our roughly 70% coverage. I love that manual focus. Someday hopefully we'll have a camera that I can have like the hand dial focus, like an SLR camera. That'd be pretty sweet. Rick finally received my order of Honda LTP-81 and PCM7550 3 days ago. Nice. Worked wonderful on your Acer Predator. Yeah, that Honda putty is really nice to work with. It's got a nice, well, it's basically pretty similar performance to UTP-8, and it's got a nice consistency to work with. Definitely some good stuff. Isn't it nice having so many options these days? Like, I definitely liked TGPP10 when I was using it, but I didn't have many other options at the time. And certainly none that seemed any better. Of course there were, we just didn't, I just didn't search, like hunt enough for them. Let's zoom in to the VRAM putty here. You can see that with a putty like UTP-8, when you compress it a lot, it's going to look kind of granular. It's not an issue when you've got a desktop GPU. You're never squishing it this thin. Just on these ASUS laptops, I probably wouldn't recommend well, I wouldn't recommend using any thick putty on a ASUS laptop. My advice still stands. We tested it out, but there's no benefit. The VRAM didn't get any cooler, and it was a lot harder to get good GPU and CPU temperatures. I had to do a lot of extra troubleshooting, taking the bottom cover off, applying more manual pressure than I did with the Hound's Eye. So yeah, if there's no benefit and it costs more, why would we use this for an ASUS laptop? There's just no need. Not when there's lots of, I shouldn't say lots, but there's a growing number of options for thin putties. The Hound's Eye you can get just about anywhere. Or just about from any country. Mostly on AliExpress or Alibaba, Temu, eBay7, Lazada, Taobao, a few others. Okay, we got the heatsink pretty clean. This might be a little while for me to scrub all of this clean. That is okay. Probably this area over here will be the dirtiest. Okay, we'll just get the toothbrush out, start scrubbing. Should see a screen. Ray, no mic. I'm looking to get some thermal putty for my 36 Ti Inno3D Twin X2. And obviously I'd rather get advice from you, so which one do you recommend? I'm living in Saudi, and my only option is AliExpress. You're in Saudi? Oh man. I was just there. That sucks. I had tons of putty with me too. Man, that would have been so cool. To like, yeah, do your video card for you. I'll probably be there again next year in the spring. I even tried to explain what thermal putty was to this one computer shop. One of the it was at like that Computer Bazaar in I think it was Dammam, fairly close to Kobar. And the guy was kind of confused. See more order. Where before it had core contact issues using thermal pads that came from the factory. Temps went down 10 degrees Celsius. That's pretty good. 10 degrees is 10 degrees. You're supposed to brush your teeth twice a day. And your laptop, well, not twice a day, but just before you apply a different thermal putty, it's not a bad idea. Clean it up. Making a mess in here. Putty likes to jump around. There we go. Hurry, not yet. Soon we'll be applying UTP-4. We'll do the test card first. I know that sounds weird because we're working on the, on the laptop right now, but we got something a little extra planned for the laptop first before we apply it. Yeah, Riyadh, probably not. Man, I should have left putty there. I was thinking about it. I was like, maybe I'll leave some thermal putty here and some PTM with one of the guys, and then if I ever needed to like have them ship it to someone, it wouldn't be impossible. Or for someone to come pick it up, meet them somewhere, have some mixed grill, have some shawarma, smoke the hookah, all the good Saudi Arabia things. Yeah, Mitch has got a good point, Ray. You should probably go with CXH 1300. It's just so cheap. You're not going to see your memory temps anyways. It performs quite well. You can get it for dirt cheap. It's a solid option. Especially when you're not going to be... when you don't have GDDR6X, I think it's definitely a solid option. No need to buy the best or one of the better putties. UTP-8 is not the best. The best is Honeywell HT10000. It's just a little bit harder to source. And more expensive. Yeah, you could definitely tell a lot of manufacturers are waking up to thermal putty. Well, I shouldn't say waking up. Some of them were using it well before I knew what it was. I'm late to the game for thermal putty. And to think I really only knew of like a few limited ones back during the TGPP 10 days, when actually quite a few other ones existed. I just had no idea. So I was slow. Let me get the stiff bristle brush here. So I've got more like quiet ambient music, which should make it a little bit easier for folks that want to watch this at a different date at like a faster speed. So you guys will probably notice a little bit of change in the music. I've also turned it down just a little bit, so hopefully it's at a decent level. Guess we'll find out in the next couple days as I get feedback on it from a few folks. Just gonna cut some of these Q-tips in a sharp angle. Haven't lost a screw yet, but we're getting close. It's probably going to be easier if I just lift this thing up and tap it, or tilt it over to dump all the little crumbs off. So I'm going to do that. Also going to just lightly brush it off. A little more brushing over here. How can we apply Upsiren UTP-8 thermal putty correctly? Rohit Gupta. There's some good guides. I think they're decent guides. Videos you can watch on my channel. I basically just wear gloves and I hand roll it and into logs or balls and apply it that way. You can also use a syringe. This kind of goes for any putty. If it's soft enough, it'll squeeze out a syringe without too much of an issue. If it's on the stiffer side, you might have to apply more pressure, but nothing too significant. Text, yeah, I might have to change the text color or put a color box in the background or maybe a shadow. I'll definitely fix the text box for the next stream. Actually, I'll probably work on figuring out what works good while I'm going at work. I should have enough time. Alright, it's not perfect. Actually, we still have to clean up the cores. Let me just wipe one of these down really quick. Excuse me. So with PTM being a phase change material, and it's currently frozen, you just got to think of it like ice and use an ice scraper, because using a solvent on it doesn't do a whole lot. Like isopropyl doesn't really make it liquidy at all, so yeah, this is how I typically clean it up a little bit faster. just pick up the remnants with like a damp makeup wipe. Works out pretty good. Rohit Gupta, is thermal putty better than thermal pads? And can I apply it on my ASUS Tough laptop? You can apply a thin thermal putty to your ASUS laptop. Yes. Don't use UTP-8 is my advice. UTP-8 is great on desktop video cards and other stuff, but it's not great for thin gaps. And your ASUS laptop most likely has thin gaps. Ionis C. Delatos, we need a list with all these beautiful tools you use on Discord when you find time. I can definitely do that, yeah. You know, most of these tool suggestions are from you guys. I'm just the guy that kind of, yeah, takes the advice of others and sees if it works. This is a cool, like, little Q-tip dipper thing. You just kind of, you pump it up. It's got isopropyl in the bottom, and it fills a little top cup, so it makes it really nice for dipping. I used to fill up a cap that was on the container itself, and then I would just take the cap off and it would be open to the air, which is not ideal, while I was using it for like a couple hours. So gradually the alcohol starts to evaporate off and it becomes a higher concentration of water. So yeah, this little dipper thing works pretty nice. Yeah, I had a guy try and sell me MX4 in Saudi Arabia, and I was like, no thanks. I was trying to explain what PTM was. There was definitely a language barrier. It's not his fault. It's mine. I don't speak Arabic. I mean, I know a few words, but not enough to have a conversation. Yeah, I think we are pretty close here. Pretty close to doing something fun. I really like these black plastic covers they've got. I would much rather use a liquid conformal, I think. Just because like PTM and paste is going to work itself underneath that tape and then kind of make it like bulge upwards a little bit. And I just, I don't like that. Yeah. I'd rather if it didn't do that. All right. So what we're going to do, something a little different here. get some gloves. Is we're going to try to measure the gaps using a quick setting silicone putty that's not meant for thermal transfer at all. It's just meant to measure a shape and a gap size. We're gonna try. Hopefully it works. Hopefully I'm not gluing my laptop together. We're not going to use tons. We're just going to use a little bit. And we're also going to put some, if I can find it. Could it have gone? I swear I just had it out earlier. A tube of thermal paste. I mean, I've got my MX4 at hand. I could use that if I had to. I was hoping to use Thermal Grizzly Duronaut just because it gets so... Oh, there it is. Yeah, we're definitely going to use it. Okay, so we're going to put a dot of thermal paste on the GPU. And the CPU. Not much. We're not actually going for thermal transfer here. We're just trying to confirm contact with the heatsink, and then we're going to use see if I can get this in focus just so you guys can see what we're going to do. We're going to use these two Part A, Part B silicone mold putties. Is that kind of in focus there? Yeah. You mix them together, equal parts, and then apply it. It hardens within 10 to 20 minutes. I already tested it out at 20 minutes and it worked quite well. I just did it between some shims just to see. It also disconnected real easily. These are aluminum nitride shims. And it keeps its shape really well. And it's going to allow us to actually, hopefully, measure the actual gap, which is probably useful information. Let's see. Don't want to use too much. We're not gonna use like a full pad's worth. We're just gonna put a tiny little dot, hopefully, on there. So yeah, I'm gonna mix this up and then see if we can make little tiny balls. Those look roughly equal to me, so we're gonna go with that. See, I've only used this once before today when I was prepping for it, and seemed to work well. Mildly disturbed. We're gonna see if it works out. Right. It's am I saying the right word? Exothermic? When it gives off heat, or is that endothermic? I'm gonna mix up words here. It gives off a little bit of warmth when you're mixing this putty. We are really going to go for minimalistic here. We're going to do all the VRAM. We're just going to do 2 VRAM. Might as well do 2, 2, and 2, hey? Right, and the excess we're just going to put between some copper shims just for fun. There. Alright, so we're going to put this guy on. And we'll tighten these screws. Yeah, on thin gaps you can use UTP-4 or Hound's Eye or Zezio putty. Zezio is basically, as far as I can tell, just rebranded Hound's Eye anyways. So, and that's a great option. Like if you can get that, it's only like $5, $6 for 20 grams. It's a good way to go. Of course, we will see what this UTP-4 can do, but I don't think there's going to be much of a difference when tested at a thin gap. We might see more, well, I think we'll see more of a difference on the test card measured at with a 1.8 millimeter gap. Obviously that should be a more significant difference in performance between the two. And I want to get this screwed down before that stuff starts to set up. Ideally, you never want to be in a rush when you're turning screws in, because you could easily strip the heads if you're not careful. Okay, we're going to leave that for 10 minutes. It's currently, yeah, basically 11 o'clock where I'm at, so that'll be easy enough. Get cleaned up and we'll put UTP-4 on the test card. So this should already be clean, but we're going to just touch up the surfaces, make sure they're still clean. Excuse me. Gabriel Mayoru? Sorry, I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Welcome to the stream. Aaron Kajikom. I'm planning to buy PTM7950 for my CPU and GPU to my thin laptop like Razer Blade, but for VRAM, VRMs, other components, still deciding what best. You suggest Razer thin laptop. More create heat, thank you. Yeah, I'd go with, if you want an easy time with the putty application, I would use a thin putty, either Hound's Eye HY236 or 206 you could search for. On AliExpress, you get 20 grams for $5, 5 Canadian dollars. If you can't find that, then Upsiren UTP-4 Ultra-Thin is a good alternative. We'll see what the performance is like over the next couple days, hopefully sooner than that. I'm just going to swap gloves just so I'm not cross-contaminating or anything. And we'll put some MX4 on the core. Get some UTP-4. I'm gonna try hand rolling this. See how well that works. If that doesn't work, then I will get a syringe, I guess. Hopefully we can hand roll it. I wouldn't use dental mold thermal putty. No. Well, it won't even be thermal putty. It'll just be dental mold putty. That's not going to have any metallic additives to it that are going to, like oxides and nitrides that are going to boost performance. So this stuff's quite sticky. Should I just go to a syringe right away? I think I need to buy some more syringes. We're going to try and roll it. Why not? You know what? It's going to be pretty expert level. No, I'm not going to be able to roll that. I was going to give it a try, but it's not going to work for that. So let me grab a syringe. It'll take me just a moment here. So I'm having to clean an old syringe because I do not know where my bag of syringes are. I might have run out, actually. I haven't had to use one in a while, so I'll be sure to stock up. Gabriel Myro, I don't have like any affiliate links or anything, but if you post on the Discord server, you'll be able to find, you should be able to find links to HY236 fairly easily there, or maybe someone else can help you out. I don't have one on hand at the moment. It's done here, guys. Just trying to make sure we clean this syringe okay. I think we have. Bet my socks are going to get covered in putty. Some putty fell. I didn't see where it went. All right. Let's see here. We're going to grab a brand new spatula, and we're going to actually load up the syringe with both of these, I think. We've got 2 containers of it. It's a very nice soft ice cream mixture. So it's pretty hard for a thin putty to be hand formable. Somehow Helm's Eye pulled that off. If you get their thick versions, I don't know why they have 2 versions of each putty, but they do. But the thick versions are what I've been using, and they're not thick as in large particles. They're just thick as in not too sticky. Like, they're sticky, but you can still roll them by hand. So I definitely do like that putty. We've bought quite a bit of it. But you know, Upsiren just came out with this one, so it's quite possible they'll make improvements in the future to its consistency, and yeah, this is just their first stab at a thin putty meant for basically the ASUS laptops and others with thin gaps. Alright, so I think that's, yeah, 2 20-gram containers, which is going to be lots of putty, more than we need for both the test card VRAM and the laptop. All right, let me just I gotta clean some of the stuff off my hands for a sec. I feel like I might be able to tell Upsiren to package UTP-4 in a syringe. Yeah, we could totally get them to do that. If you can also CC Hound's Eye on that to confirm, that would be great. Oh, for a syringe? Yeah. That would work out good. All right, let's apply this putty. And we're also going to use a spatula to trim it off because it's going to be sticky. So got to have the tools at hand here. Okay, so this is 6 millimeters diameter. And this is, sorry, I don't want that kind of spatula. I just want a regular one. That was a Thermo Grizzly one for a second there. There's just a little, oh, that's an air pocket. Okay. I'll just put that right at the end there. That does actually apply pretty easily with the syringe, which is, I suppose, not surprising. Okay. Just grab the cap, which I should also clean out. Guess I should write on that too. All right. I think we're ready for assembly of this thing. And by the looks of it, it's 11:13. So by the time we get this back together, we should be ready to do the laptop. This part's always hard. So I always like to start these 4 corner screws, get everything lined up. If you do the 4 core screws first, you might have just a slight misalignment and then have an issue getting these ones started. So just getting them started is not a bad idea. Think of them as alignment pins, like on an engine block when you're mating a block to a head or transmission. They've got little dowel pins to line things up. It's kind of similar to that. All right, now I get to I like to just feel the screw heads and get them roughly turned in the same to start off with. And then we'll do a star pattern. Hopefully you guys had a good weekend. My weekend was, well, it was busy. Let's just say that. And it's going to be a busy week for work, but I should still be able to log in and do tests remotely. We'll definitely get started on the ETC hash one tonight, and then before I leave, when I wake up in a few hours, I'll probably take a snapshot, stop that test, and then start the next one. Alright, I'm just going to clean the PCI Express connector. So I just kind of soaked that in isopropyl alcohol. I'm just going to give this guy a good wipe. Yeah, looks pretty clean. Alright, let me get that plugged in. Alright, that's booting up. Let's get the laptop situated over here again. Probably don't need those things lying about. See if I can get it working here. Family Pro. Sorry, I'm just gonna figure out why it's not showing up. This is number 4. Okay. Maybe... Okay, there we go. %, fan. Our mining algorithm overclock. This is kind of hard to do on with a lag of the capture card. It's kind of annoying. Oh man, there we go. Okay. Okay, what just happened there? That just disappeared, didn't it? Oh man. Wrong mouse. Oh, it's the wrong keyboard. No wonder. Okay. Up siren UTP-4. So we're starting to log there. Now I just do this, which makes it easier to do a snapshot later on. Crap. Sorry, guys. All right. So that's running. Now let's take a look at the laptop. So it's been 24 minutes. It's going to be kind of interesting if this worked out or not. I'm super curious. I can see a little bit of excess pushed out there. So maybe I still used quite a bit. I don't know. I just hope it doesn't glue the whole thing together. Guess we'll find out. How is the ASUS laptop with Upstar 8 doing? There was, if you look back at the stream later on, it's kind of, I posted the results, but it didn't do any better. I had to troubleshoot a lot more, and I still never got the CPU quite as cool. So, and it was at temperature quite a bit. I applied pressure 3 different times. I would stick to a thin putty. There was no benefit on the VRAM. In fact, it was just slightly warmer, if anything. So, okay, we're gonna try. Oh, okay, that actually separated really easily. Okay, I think this is gonna work. Man, that looks really thin. Let's see if I can get this a bit closer here for you guys. Excuse me. All right, let's zoom in here. We'll try the digital zoom first and see. Yeah, digital zoom kind of sucks. I'll just bring the heatsink up to you guys, and I'll manually focus this in just a moment. All right. That looks pretty thin, hey? You guys can see the copper coloring underneath the coil there. Still a little bit on that one too. You can see the paste spread pretty thin. This is Duranot, so it does spread quite thin. Looks like we got a decent measurement on the VRAM. There's one still on the laptop there. We'll bring this up for you guys as well. So yeah, the paste got pretty thin. So we got good contact. Look how thin that blue silicone putty is on that VRAM. So I'm hoping that's solid enough that we can peel that off and get a good measurement on it. And we'll see if the RAM are both the same. Oddly enough, this one looks just a little bit thicker, just based on it not being as copper colored. You guys see the text on there? The imprint from the VRAM? Look at that. That's cool. That's so cool that we got an imprint. It's Hynix RAM. Right on. All right. So, let's see here. I think the B in that corner says that the battery is low, but that's okay. I can read it out to you guys. We're going to try using a plastic spatula here to peel it off. We'll do the coils first. Oh yeah, this is going to work great. Nice. Okay, I'm going to trim off the excess. out the edges, just so we can get a fairly accurate reading here. I'll go lengthwise. Okay. I think this is going to work. So this is the coil number 1. Yeah, I'm going to say about 0.33 of a millimeter for coil number 1. Let's put that back there for now. And we'll peel off the next one. Wow, that worked surprisingly. Like it's nice and solid. So that's cool. I would call this a success for measuring the gap. As far as the molding putty working how it's supposed to. Yeah, this one showing 0.45. So we could probably split the difference and just say 0.4 of a millimeter. Somewhere between 0.4 and 0.45. Next we will do the MOSFETs. This one feels a bit thicker, that one looks thinner. I suppose I could try again another time and do it on more of them so that it's actually acting like a putty. Right. MOSFET number 1. This one's showing 0.5. But again, I might have needed to press on this side a bit more. This side looks more compressed over here. I think to be safe, we should probably use the smallest ones. I guess the argument being that using a thin putty negates having a core contact issue. Yeah, this one says 0.32. So 0.32 for MOSFET number 2. Let's go the thick RAM that looks like it's on the thicker side. 0.46. Yeah, 0.48, 0.49. Whereas this one looks quite thin. I think I should have probably pressed down on the core like I normally do, because this one looks extremely thin. And we're going to use the thin one as the guideline, just to be safe. This is like paper thin here. I think I've got enough time to get a couple hours of sleep still. Unless I just pull an all-nighter. That's not going to be good because I got to work 12 hours tomorrow, so. Yeah, okay. Here we go. 0.18. I'm going to say that that's more accurate than the one that looked quite thick. So it's going to be hard to get putties with larger particles pressed down that thin. I might do this again another day after the UTP-4 application. When I come back from work, it'd be kind of cool to put more of the silicone putty. You only have a few minutes to work with it, but I think I could do it pretty quick. Get it all screwed together, take some measurements again. But as the first time of doing this, I think it worked out, you know, half decent. Okay, we'll get these VRAM cleaned off. All right, let's get some fresh PTM. This PTM traveled all the way to Saudi Arabia with me, back again. And let's get our tape. Guess you guys can't really see what I'm doing here. Let me I'm gonna change the camera angle in a second. Not angle, but right now I'm just cutting tape tabs to help me peel the PTM. Try not to touch it too much, but it's always inevitable that you get a little bit of skin oil on there. Okay, let's cut this. These two, something like that. Okay, so I'm just gonna put piece of tape on either side at the same corner. And I'm going to press with my thumb just to make it stick really well. And I'm going to peel off the first film. And I'm going to just try my best to lay it down. I cut it way too big. That's okay. It's fine. I'm not going to cut it down further now that it's on there. I was aiming to cut it smaller. Sometimes I don't get that perfect. This one a bit smaller. You guys aren't aware, I usually like to go for 70% coverage is the magic number that I use. But you can go as little as 20%. Not that I'd recommend going that extreme, but it can work. You'll still get full coverage if you're using a 0.25 millimeter sheet. Okay, so we'll just kind of run our fingers on there, get them pressed down. We'll leave them unpeeled for now until we're done with applying the putty. Yeah, this is that piece of silicone molding stuff I put between the two shims. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, so for the putty application, let's get that tube of UTP-4 and let me get this PTM out of the way. All right. So I'm going to try and make this really thin. This comes out of the nozzle at 6 millimeters, so I'm going to hold it down at an angle and kind of run it across. I'm not going to allow it to be a full log, and hopefully we just don't go too overboard. Yeah, this stuff should definitely come in a syringe. I'll try mentioning that to Siren. And Hound's Eye. So that'd be kind of nice. Get them both doing similar stuff for the thin putties. Just like decorating a cake, eh? I think that worked out pretty good. I'll try and hold this up so you guys can see it a little bit better. Or, at an angle, I guess. And maybe up. So it's pretty thin. You guys get a good view of that, hey? It's not super thick. It's messy. We're gonna see how it does. pretty sure we're still going to have good full contact. So now we're going to get this back into focus. Sorry about that. And we're going to peel that that PTM. We'll do this one first. I'm not going to pull this up. I'm going to pull it back. It should make the peel happen better. And as you can see, we got the clear plastic off. Not too much fuss there. Same thing here. And we got it peeled off okay. All right. Heatsink looks clean. Get this. Oh, let me zoom out again. Go. So before it makes touchdown, you kind of want to roughly line it up if possible. Yeah, here we go. It's definitely in the right spot. Excuse me. And now we'll get these restarted again. What's in the shot? I have a hard time hearing it. Can you or the audience write it in the comments? In the shot, like in the video? Right now, we're looking at an ASUS laptop that I've just applied UTP-4 Ultra-Thin thermal putty to. I previously tested out Helmseye HY256 and Upsiren UTP-8. Oh, the putty I'm using in the video? Right now it's UTP-4 that I just applied. We removed UTP-8 from it, and I posted results at the start of the stream. So if you... actually, I'll pop that up here in just a moment. Here, let's look at the results from what we had before. So with stock, these were the stock temperatures running Prime 95 static, Cinebench, Furmark. We got GPU stuff here, Crystal Diskmark, the stock without any kind of heatsink, and then the HY256 plus a copper shim. I'll have to change that to show the copper heatsink. Then we applied HY256 and PTM, and we had a noticeable improvement to the CPU temperature, both on the Prime 95 and the Cinebench. In Furmark, with the PTM, we got similar core temperature and hotspots, but our memory temperature went down 7 degrees, which is pretty significant. Well, I think it is. And then with the HY256 and the heatsink on the NVMe drive, we dropped temperatures massively. This was hitting 112. These are delta temperatures over ambient, which is all logged in HW info. Then I tried UTP-8, and I didn't get as good of CPU temperatures. I got similar GPU temperatures and hotspot, but the memory had no cooler temperature than what the HY256 achieved, and that's because the particles are larger, so it didn't squish as thin, and it would have been holding a larger gap between the heatsink and the VRAM. So that's what the results were so far, and we'll be testing the UTP-4 to find out how it does on this laptop. In the syringe was UTP-4 Ultra-Thin, yeah. Yeah, I'm just going to get these started in a few threads. And then we're going to press gently. Nothing too crazy, just a gentle pressure. Going to press and hold to help squish that putty. And as soon as I get this back together, we'll take a look at what our test card is doing with UTP-4. Doing the ETC hash test. And then I gotta go to sleep. I wasn't kidding about having to get up in a few hours and head to work. But that's okay. You guys are worth the sacrifice to the sleep. Okay. What are we doing here? We've got some excess. I'm going to use a spatula and kind of scoop it off. Kind of using it like a trowel. Don't mind if it stuffs in there either. It's okay. There we go. Got a little bit of the excess off. Otherwise, it looks pretty decent. Just a bit more right here. Stuff's definitely messier than putties I usually like to use, but that's okay. Its goal is to be thin, which I think it will, well, I don't think, I know we already measured it, but let's measure it again on the calipers. Make sure it didn't change. Wow, it's actually thinner than, yeah, it's more like it. Yeah, so 0.02. 0.02 to 0.03 of a millimeter for the approximate particle size. It's advertised as having 0.02 millimeter particles, so that's most likely accurate. Probably more accurate than my caliper measurement. Although, I'd consider that pretty accurate too. Okay, what do we got to do here? We're going to press a little bit more behind the cores, make sure they're contacting well. Yeah. Let's tape this guy down. And we'll get the back cover put back on right after we reattach the battery. Let me just flip this around for this spot, this part. Okay, we got the battery reconnected. Just gonna mute the mic for a second here. Didn't want that to be too loud on your guys' ears. Actually, one more time. There we go. All right. You know what? That's gonna bug me if it's dirty. Yeah, pretty good. All right. So we're gonna put the cover back on. And see if we can find those screws. Excuse me. Yeah, UTP-4 brain reserve. UTP-4 is pretty new. You'll pretty much only find it on, well, probably AliExpress, maybe Alibaba, possibly Eat by 7. You'll start to see it more often, but if you want a thin putty, you really can't go wrong with Helmseye. HY206 or 236. 206 is just the product line. There is a screw hiding there. Thought so. Let's not get these in the wrong order. They are different lengths. Yeah, you can buy Helmseye putty directly from Helmseye. They even have a listing on Alibaba. But if you can't find it from a retailer like website, just go to the Helmseye website and you'll be able to email them at their sales contact info. They've got an email listed there. They also link to their Alibaba store. It's a great option. Like I said, I don't think there's going to be a significant performance difference between UTP-4 and Helmseye when it's at such a thin gap. There'll be a larger difference on the test GPU, which we're going to look at here momentarily. Okay, let me just do a couple things here. These guys we're going to clean later. Just want to get my keyboard back here. I don't lose any of the bits to the screwdrivers. All right. Excuse me. Let's take a look at test bench 2. What are we doing here? So we've got ambient temperatures. Looks like fan at 85%, yeah. Average GPU looks like 22-ish right now, roughly. And GPU memory junction temperature, of course, this is going to jump up and down. 82, 80, 84. So what is roughly, let's just say, calculator. Gotta get the right keyboard here. Calculator. Let's just say 82 minus 22. Roughly. But we're not going to have the final numbers for a while. So 60. So where does that, if we go to our full chart, 60. Kind of looks like it's down 3 degrees better than HY234 and 6 degrees, 5 or 6 degrees worse than HY236. Again, that's rough numbers. We'll know better once the test is run its course and run for at least 2 hours. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be as cold as Hound's Eye is on the test card. Just going off of those initial numbers, but we'll know better later on. It could be different by a degree or two, possibly. So looks like it's going to be in between Hound's Eye 206 and Hound's Eye 204. That's where I think it'll end up, somewhere in the middle. Anyways, guys, that I think that's all I had for tonight. I'm going to run these tests and I'll compile the data and we'll add it to the chart. We'll take a look at the application after we take it apart. I'll also get the test laptop burnt in for that PTM, and I'll probably apply pressure once more after initial burn-in, and then burn some more, and then we'll do some benchmarks and see where it ends up. But I think that's where the real application is. It's going to be for thin laptops. I don't see this as being a competitive putty to use on a desktop video card where the gaps are going to be, closer to 2 millimeters. So yeah, that is it for tonight. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you guys coming and watching my stream. Some parts were probably more interesting than others. That's how she goes. I hope you guys have a great night, and I will catch you guys next time. Snarks Domain out.